Buckle up your seatbelts because I'm pretty sure majority of you guys have struggled with this one thing because I know I did. It was being thrown around at one point. There was emotional intelligence, trauma, healing, narcissist, and our topic today, accountability. You ever realize that there's some people that are just so good at gossiping, but when it comes to them speaking about themselves, you never hear where they went wrong. They never mention themselves. And unfortunately, some of those people were our parents because don't ever let them be wrong. I used to take so much pride in being an honest person that I was forgetting one important part. Accountability is so important, so crucial to self growth, and it goes hand in hand with the last topic, catch yourself. Unfortunately, I was not paying attention until probably years ago when I was in a relationship with an ex, of course. And looking back at it now, I am cringing. Even though it took me a while for me to even realize the true definition of the word, I'm so glad I did when I did because if I didn't, I feel like that would definitely mess up how I'm viewed now. Accountability could take you to the next level for people to respect you. And some people don't even realize that they lack it. It will take your relationship so far. It doesn't matter how honest and how upfront you are. If you never own up to anything, that's a problem. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but I used to be a shy person. So growing up, I used to people watch until I got a voice of my own, and I was so quick to point out when anybody's, let me not say anybody, any boyfriend or any relationship that I was in, I was so quick to point out when they were wrong. And it wasn't that it was a right or wrong thing in my head. I knew already without telling you because women are always right. No, I'm just kidding. But I just felt like anytime that I was upset about something, it was for a reason. I knew how to be quiet, but if I knew something, I was going to say something. If you see something, say something. So I remember years ago when I was in a relationship with an ex, and he was like,
You never take accountability for anything.
and I don't know what it was. I just had like this light bulb go off on my head, and I just had one of those that's so Raven moments where I was just like, and just all of the disagreements that we ever had just like flashed right in front of my eyes, and I was just like, oh, dang, little miss always got to be right. You always got to say something. Just because I was right, I did not need to bring it up in every disagreement. And then I had to realize disagreements can't always just be about the other person. At some point, you have to realize if it's the same conversation over and over again, or every time you're having a disagreement or argument with someone, you ever realize that like you're never wrong? So there's like nothing that you did ever. And those are the things that just popped up in my head. I'm like, it's not even about being right. It's the fact that I always had to like call him out on something. And it wasn't all the time, but the times that it did happen, it was like, hello, he can't be the only one that is bringing issues into the relationship. Yeah, so the shift for me was like, there's no way that you could never be wrong. And I'm sure that I didn't handle things in the best way. And everything does not need a comeback. Then I'm like, I don't want to be one of those nagging girlfriends. I want to be someone who you're able to have a conversation, have a resolution, and move on. Everything doesn't need to be an argument. And I hated to argue, but that also depends on how the other person deals with conflict as well. But everything does not need to end up dragged out for minutes, hours, weeks. It just doesn't need to get dragged out. So figuring out where you also went wrong could make a big difference, especially if I wanted to spend my life with this person. Like, is this what it's going to look like? And clearly that didn't work out, but that's the thought I had in my head at that time. But I am glad that he said something. And that's a big thing too. Being able to take something that someone is saying to you into consideration and not just like brushing them off or cursing them out or being upset that they're mentioning something about you. You should take time to also think about it and say, hey, like, why is this person bringing it up? If in the moment you ask for examples, if not, just reflect on it yourself. Maybe it could be a conversation for another time. But that's a big thing too, because I definitely could have heard what he said and just bugged out because I was stubborn. a little more stubborn. If I did not come to that realization, I would have carried it out into other relationships, other friendships, my job, and just my adult life in general. And I feel like that could tarnish so many relationships. And especially because I'm big on integrity, that is not a reflection of what I see as an integral person. I used to hear that word all the time, but I just never knew that it applied to me. It was probably just something bad that I picked up on because I never used to see anyone in my family or anybody around me as an adult say, like, you know what, I was wrong. I see that now, but back then I did not see that. So, you know, growing up in certain environments, you may see certain people going back and forth saying their piece out loud and with no apologies at all, but never did I hear, oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I was wrong. Never heard that. And especially like with parents, I'll speak for my parents specifically. It was, I said what I said. And even if they were wrong, I'm probably just now hearing about it instead of 15 years ago. But I've never seen how it was to have conversations where people agree to disagree. And it's not to say that my parents were just in the house going crazy. No, that's not the case. But if you're upset about something, you're going to mention it. If you're irritated, you're going to mention it. If you're annoyed, you're going to say something. And it would just be things like that. It didn't matter where it was coming from, who it was coming from, and why. If you was irritated, you were saying something about it, and you're not apologizing for it. I could have said, oh, it wasn't me. It was Jamela. And there's no, oh, I'm sorry. That was it. So it sounds crazy and it sounds stupid, but that was my reality. And it just goes to show that sometimes you just have to recognize your patterns, be aware, and then if you are trying to become a better person, you just need to be intentional and work on it. If you struggle with it, you can practice. It's not crazy. You have to practice these things. Things don't just change overnight. But think about it. How were your past relationships? Are you quick to call them out, but never yourself? Do you blame other people, but never say where you were wrong? Or maybe you just need to take more responsibility. Awareness, awareness, awareness. You have to be aware first, slow down before you respond and where you went wrong, and think about what you're going to say before you say it. It could even be something that happened years ago. And I'm not telling you to go and hit up an ex. Don't do that. This does not mean that. But I will give an example though of one time after that same breakup that I was telling you about years ago. So I had stopped speaking to a close friend of mine for years, just stupidly, and I just stopped speaking to them out the blue. I was going through a lot at the time. It still doesn't make it okay. I was wrong, and I didn't speak to them for years. And I was planning to do something, and I wanted them to be there. So while I'm going through this, I don't remember if I had broke up with that person at the time, but like, let's just say I broke up with the person at the time. But while I'm going through this awakening, I was thinking about planning this event, and I'm just like, wow, I really wish that this person, not my ex, my old friend, I really wish that this person could be there because they were a part of like this moment, this journey, this era. And I was just thinking, maybe I should reach out to this person. Like, what would I say? And I kept thinking about the person that I wanted to be and how I wanted to be looked at, and that if there was something that I could do to change the situation, then I should do it. In my head, I'm just like, I'm going to reach out to the person, even if they ignore me, they don't want to mend the relationship, and they don't want anything to do with me. It's up to them. I have no say so in how they respond. I can only do my part in reaching out to them, but I can't control what they say or what they do and how they respond. So I think I may have texted them, and they agreed to speak on the phone, and I spoke first. Mind you, I didn't speak to this person in years, and we were very close. And I just told them like, hey, I wanted to reach out to you to let you know this event that I'm having, and I think it's very important for you to be there. I want to apologize for just ghosting you and not saying anything. I was struggling with some stuff, and there was a interaction that we had that I didn't know how to control my emotions, and I didn't handle it in the best way, but I really do love you. You're a part of my family, and I want you around in my life. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. But I know that I definitely took accountability for what I did and told them that I apologized for ghosting them and that I wanted them to be at this event and that I would love to be friends again, but I understand if they don't want to. And even thinking about that moment, me being this quiet, shy person that didn't know how to express themselves, to becoming this honest, integral person that is able to face my fears or just woman up and reach out to this person that could have just said, F you, like, I don't want anything to do with, they could have turned their back and they didn't have to respond. And it was a very emotional conversation. We cried on the phone. They told me how they felt, what people were saying about us, not just so many things that she was expressing to me that I had no idea about. Of course, I had no care in the world at that time to even consider how she was feeling. And I just felt so bad, so sad to even just imagine hearing somebody close to you crying on the phone. And the fact that she was able to open up her heart again to even allow me back into their life, it says a lot. I think that's a very important thing too. I think my situation was like a 1 in a million situation, and just because you reach out to someone or just because you apologize, it does not mean that that person is going to accept it, and you have to be okay with that. You can't control how people respond. You can't control how people feel. For me, I was extremely grateful, and I never take that for granted at all. I have heard stories where people try to apologize, or even people have tried to apologize to me as well. Like, I will forgive you, because that is what we are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be forgiving people. It may hurt, it may not feel the best, but I forgive you, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to let you back in my circle. You have to use discernment. Those same people that can apologize can also hurt you again. And it's not that I'm living in fear, but I understand that, like, we may not be on the same journey. I apologized and knew that I wasn't going back to who I was in that moment. But there are some people that will apologize and also have no intentions in changing, or they're apologizing to maybe move on from the conversation, but they don't really mean it. So definitely praying about it and using discernment in every type of situation, because it's crazy out here. I'm sorry to be jumping around, but yes, when it comes to that person, I was extremely grateful, and to this day they're one of the most important people in my life, and I find them so motivating to me. We just have a certain level of understanding with each other, and I don't want to be selfish to say that it's almost as if nothing ever happened. I love where we are. And if you don't know, I'm from New York. I live in Houston now, and in order for me to hang out with anybody, I pretty much have to fly to Atlanta or fly to New York. So these are long distance relationships that I'm in, and it takes work, it takes effort. And the fact that this person is still willing to reach out to me and we're still able to have like these meaningful conversations. And mind you, this conversation happened maybe 3 years ago. So the fact that we're still going on, it means a lot. And I feel like me orchestrating that event was definitely God trying to show me something about myself, for sure. So I'm appreciative of every situation that I'm put in. I feel like you can learn a lesson from every situation, and it doesn't matter who it is. In my case, it was an ex that had to say something in order for me to realize where I was going wrong. It is what it is, and it worked out. All in all, I want to say it's never too late to turn things around, especially if someone means a lot to you. If you are also working on trying to be an integral person, understand that you do the things for you. If you have a relationship with God, it's doing things for you and to please God. It's not to please man, it's not to please anybody else, but it's your character, it's your name, it's who you are. So what you do, what you say, and what you don't do, it matters, because that's on you. So how do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as someone who is upfront and integral and trustworthy and well respected? or someone that no one wants to be around and no one wants to trust. That is all for today. I want to say thank you to everyone who is watching and who got to the end of this video. Don't forget to like and share if this applies to you or anybody. I will see you next week.